Welcome to this week's look at the state of the New York City real estate market, where I take a look at the luxury market, the Manhattan market, and the Brooklyn market. I do it because I want you to be informed. It never hurts when you're a consumer to be informed. Welcome to this week's look at the state of the New York City real estate market. This week's report is for last week, the week of February 6th, and covers through February 13th. We're going to get started, as we always do, with the luxury sector of the market. And before I get started with that, I want to thank the Olshan Market Report for all their hard work. What they do helps me to help you. Okay, let's get started. In the luxury market, there were 25 contracts signed last week at $4 million and above. That is 4 fewer than the previous week. Condos, once again, outsold co-ops 16-5. There were 2 condops, and there were also 2 townhouses in this group. It was the second week in a row that the luxury market hit more than 20 signed contracts in a week. And for the second week in a row, only 2 properties of that group were above the 10 million mark in terms of asking price. The number one contract was the 12th floor at 778 Park. It was asking almost 28 million, and it's been on and off the market since January of 2021. This is a co-op. It has 5 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms, 2 powder rooms, and 4 staff rooms. The living room, library, and formal dining room, all with fireplaces, overlook Park Avneue. Nice. The primary bedroom has a dressing room that also faces Park Avneue. There are 2 staff rooms downstairs off of the kitchen area. And upstairs, there's actually a staff wing with 2 more bedrooms. The amenities in this amazing building include 18 units, a doorman, storage, and a resident manager. 778 Park was designed by the legendary Manhattan architect Rosario Candela, and it was built in 1931. It is considered to be one of his finest works. So this is one of the most sought after addresses in New York City. So congratulations to the buyer. The number 2 contract signed last week was Penthouse B at 160 Wooster Street. It was signed at $14.5 million. It was an off-market deal with a buyer who already lives in the building. The original floor plan is a duplex condo on the 6th and 7th floors with a little over 3,200 square feet. It includes 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and 2 powder rooms. The upper floor features a very dramatic 49-foot great room with 20-foot tall ceilings, and it has a fireplace. There is a almost 1,600 square foot terrace that the great room opens up onto. That also has a fireplace and has views in all directions. Downstairs is a kitchen that opens onto a family room. It also has 2 bedrooms, which include the primary bedroom that has a fireplace. This is a 15-unit building, which has a doorman, a resident manager, a roof terrace, and storage. Interestingly, the seller purchased this unit in 2007 for $6.4 million. Okay, now we're going to move on to the stats for last week. The total weekly asking price sales volume, 174,434,000. The average asking price, just under $7 million, $6,977,400. Median asking price, $5,625,000. The average discount from original ask to last asking price, 5%. And the average days on market, 529. Okay, that's it for the luxury report for last week. We're going to take a look now at what happened in Manhattan. Before I do that, I just want to say if you have any questions, happy to answer them. Please post them below. And if you feel this information would be useful to someone else, feel free to share this video. Okay, let's take a look now at what happened in Manhattan. Okay, so here's what happened in Manhattan last week. I want to thank Urban Digs for their amazing reporting on what happens in the Manhattan and Brooklyn markets, market-wide. Their work absolutely helps me to help you. We're going to move right into that 1 week look for Manhattan. The supply was down 2.51%, 311. The contracts signed were up almost 20%, 189. Off market down about 14%, 167. The 1 month look is telling a different story, however. 1,322 properties came on the market last month. That's a change. Well, it's up over 159%. The contracts signed were up as well, a little bit less so, 33%. 677 contracts were signed for the month. And the off-market properties dropped a bit, 3.41%. 680 properties came off the market last month. And as you can see, we continue to be in this buyer's market. The contract activity is really going to need to pick up to balance out the increasing supply. So we're really talking supply and demand here. We see that the supply in Manhattan ticks up, but it's just barely, and it still remains a bit low. The demand also, the pending sales, we see drop by 20 units. We've had a kind of a period of reset, nearly a year-long reset, and we're kind of at the end of that. So let's see what happens as the spring market really, really kicks into gear, which usually happens March and April. If you look at the new listings, they also tick down, but they remain within seasonal range, and the contract activity is down below 2021-22, but it's only slightly below 2019. Here are those detailed charts that I like to share with you. If you're an active buyer or seller, these charts are really important because they give you a lot more detail. All right, if you have any questions about any of this, please post your questions below. I'm happy to answer them. What's happening in a nutshell in Manhattan seems to be that we're beginning to see the buyers returning to the market. We definitely, on a day-to-day basis, are seeing higher buyer traffic. We're seeing buyers making offers. This is kind of happening over the last few weeks, and it's a little too soon to see that reflected in the data reporting because we always have a bit of a lag because of our transactional process here in New York City. But I think what we'll start to see is how this increase in activity is actually going to be more of a factor in terms of the balance of supply and demand. But of course, it'll depend as well on how many more properties come into the market. Let's wait and see, as we always do. All right, that's it for Manhattan. Let's take a look now at what happened in Brooklyn. So Brooklyn last week, we're kind of seeing a similar story here. The supply in Brooklyn for the week down a little over 5%, 163. Contracts signed jumped up a bit, almost 27%, 123 contracts signed. Off-market properties dropped pretty significantly as well, down a little over 47%. 55 properties last week went off the market. We're going to take a look now at the 1 month look for Brooklyn at all property types and price points. If you look at the supply, as with Manhattan, it did jump. Not as much as with Manhattan, 55.38%, 707 properties came on the market for the month, and there were 413 contracts signed, almost 19% up. And the off-market properties, 292 for the month, down a little over 26%. As with Manhattan, we are in this kind of buyer's market territory, but if you look at the tail end of this market pulse chart, you'll see that's a little bit on the rise. So this is because we're seeing fewer properties coming on, and we're seeing pretty good demand, and we're also seeing off-market properties kind of dropping as well. So if you take a look at the supply in Brooklyn, market wide, we're seeing a supply of 2,936 properties. We can see that that is up a little bit year to date, 2.1%, even up a little bit from last month, 5.1%, but it's down 9% from last year. That may actually help keep things a little bit imbalanced in Brooklyn because while we're waiting for the buyer activity to really kick into high gear, the fact that we're not seeing a whole lot of supply, it's being absorbed, and or it went off the market or just hasn't come on the market yet, is definitely helping to keep things, yes, in a buyer's territory, but kind of creeping back up to the neutral ground. If we look at the pending sales for Brooklyn, meaning those properties that are already in contract waiting to close, 1,466, that is down 11.6% year to date, down 3.4% from last month, and down a little over 40% from last year. This is not really surprising information, but it does give an idea of kind of where we were and how frothy the market was last year compared to where we are now. Okay, here are those detailed charts. Again, if you're an active buyer or seller, you really want to be paying attention to these charts. Do let me know if you have any questions about them. I am always happy to answer your questions about anything that I'm reporting on, or if you just have general questions about what's going on in the New York City real estate market, definitely post those below. Happy to answer them. As always, feel free to share this information with someone if you think it would be helpful to them. And do subscribe if you find this kind of information helpful to you. That's it for this week's look at the state of the New York City real estate market. I will be back in 2 weeks with the very latest news about what's happening in the New York City real estate market, the very latest news about the luxury market, the Manhattan market, and the Brooklyn market. In the meantime, take care.